Eric Holder is gone. That's what we'll talk about today. It's always pleasant when you see the other side throw a guy like Eric Holder under the bus, but the signs are becoming unmistakable. Last week, the Judiciary Committee called for him to be examined for perjury, or be investigated for perjury, because he said in testimony on May 15th, when they asked him about prosecuting reporters, that that's not something he would ever have anything to do with, was not involved in, and wouldn't approve of. And then it came out 4 days later that he signed the search warrant to seize the phone records of James Rosen's phone, the Fox News reporter. And it's not just that he signed the warrant. In the warrant, he identified Rosen as a co-conspirator in a criminal conspiracy to violate the Espionage Act of 1917, literally, in effect, accusing him of a crime. So it looks like he may well have perjured himself. The head of the House Judiciary Committee called for his resignation today, and that's important because that's the oversight committee that always has to get along with the executive branch agency. But the real signs that Holder's going away came when David Axelrod, Obama's political consultant and advisor, went on the Sunday shows and said he was troubled by the revelations about harassing reporters and that he was disturbed by those. And he gave a pro forma defense of Holder, but still those words were really major words. Now, Axelrod would not have been sent out to the Sunday shows without administration direction, probably, not just approval. And the text of his remarks, the use of the words troublesome and disturbing, would have been closely vetted. And then yesterday, Jay Carney, the president's press secretary, was asked about this at a briefing. And 3 times he said, "I'll refer you to the Justice Department for answers." And he again gave a technical defense of Holder, saying that you can't confuse the issuance of a search warrant with an actual criminal prosecution. But there were no words of support for Holder, and there was and 3 times he said, "I'll refer your question to the Justice Department." That's called throwing a guy under the bus. Why is Obama doing this? Because he has to give the media something. He feels the media hates him, that they're suspicious of him, and he has to throw them a bone. And Holder is enough of a bone so that it would be a real statement by Obama that he's learning it and getting the message. And it will be delightful to see Eric Holder go. And it couldn't be happening to a better guy. Eric Holder first came to national attention when he arranged the pardon of the FLN terrorists. They were a Puerto Rican terrorist group that had attacked the Congress, bombed the Congress, and tried to assassinate President Truman. Their leaders were locked up, and when Hillary ran for Senate in New York State, she wanted to show support for the Puerto Rican community, and Clinton, on his own, pardoned them. And the guy who arranged the pardons and pushed them, without reviewing it through the pardon review process, was Deputy Attorney General Eric Holder, doing the president's political bidding. And then a few weeks later, Denise Rich, the estranged wife of Mark Rich, a financier who was convicted in the United States, fled and is now living as a fugitive in Israel. He was convicted of arms smuggling to Iran. Denise procured a pardon from Clinton for him after donating $1 million to the Clinton Library. And nobody in the Justice Department would approve the pardon. The pardon board said no, Janet Reno said no, the deputies said no. Finally, Clinton got a hold of Eric Holder, literally on the last day he was president in the White House, and begged him to approve it, and Holder did, and based on that, Clinton signed the pardon. Horribly corrupt act. And then in the Obama administration, he was the genius that came up with the Fast and Furious program, where we would literally ship arms to the drug dealers and the cartels in the hopes that, like some sort of radioactive isotope, we trace it going through the cartels. Ridiculous. They ended up using the weapons to kill at least one DEA agent and many, many civilians. By the way, if you want to talk about all this and Holder's dismal record some more, I'm going to be on radio this afternoon talking about it from 2 to 6. If you're in the Philly region, it's WPHT 1210 AM. And if you're not, just go to dickmorris.com, click on it, and it's like a radio where you can listen in and call me. Call me with questions. I've been getting a few from all over the country and really is gratifying. Thanks a lot.